North County. We're here. The living dead. Outside lands. Yeah. True words, San Diego, we able to eat at the same table. Yesterday's fable is today's reality. Welcome to what I call the hip-hop academy of cool, calm calamity. True words, hip-hop, no chain, wristwatch, no range, marijuana, cocaine, website domains, anonymous, no name, no face, just brain. Learn to play the fucking game. I'm saying true words, old side lenses, gente, gon' live for the moment. Step out with the homies. It's a takeover, SD makeover, no layover. We already here. True words, gun control, don't patrol no more. I defend my own and everybody I know. Streets stay hot, try me not. Raising this game so everybody move. True words, drug use, El Chapo, old news. But the drugs are still used, malabuse, you lose. It's an epidemic, methamphetamines, grandmama's open it. Whole world smoking things. True words, North County, Oceanside, I'm alive. Hip-hop till I die, write rhymes every night. Cypher's gon' bring the light, lightweight, Miller Lite. Yes, I'm down to fight, bout to soar like a kite.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Kick It Podcast, brought to you by Kick It Labs. Of course, if you already know, this is being broadcasted live to you from the beautiful city of Oceanside. My name is Victor V, joined by my brother and co-host Bruce.
Yep.
We're a little short-staffed. Everybody's been all over the place, but nonetheless, we are bringing you another badass episode of the Kick It Podcast. No Piccolo, no Louie, and no Lance, but regardless, we still have a very amazing, talented, and special guest. We got Brother Cuban joining us here at the studio, kicking it with us. That's right.
What it do?
Cuban, thank you for kicking it with us, brother.
Hey, man, happy to be here, bro. Sick spot, great crew. I'm excited to see what we get into.
Facts. Well, I do want to kick it off with starting off the questions right away. Brother Cuban, can you go ahead and let these folks that don't know you, where you originally from?
San Marcos, that's where I'm from. I mean, technically born in LA till second grade. Then I came out here, and San Marcos has been the stamping ground ever since. I live in Oceanside now, so I'm all North County, bro. Esco, San Marcos, Carlsbad, Oceanside. I've lived everywhere here, so that's where I'm from, North County, bro. Upper County, notorious county. You already know.
That's right. Hell yeah.
I like how you said notorious county, dude, because unless you're from out here, nobody even knows what the hell that means.
Shout out my boy Chucky, bro, because he really reps that shit. And so if y'all don't know Chucky, Chucky's Ink, bro, best tattoo artist out here. But he reps that shit heavy, and he was the first one to put me on to that, so I got to shout him out for it.
Hey, so big shout out to Chucky. Thank you, bro.
Then can you let us know the way? Can you give us a little bit more insight, like the way you grew up? Like how was your household like?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, bro. I mean, I grew up oldest of three boys, and then and with my parents, bro, straight from Cuba. So, um, yeah, my parents are just straight up hardworking immigrants. My pops worked, my mom took care of us, and so we came up on that. My parents came here early in LA in the '90s, so my mom's got a little spooked, and she was just like, "Damn, shit popping out here." So, my mom really tried to keep us sheltered as much as she could when we were little. But you know how it is when you live, bro, in the apartment blocks. You just, you get outside, you kick it with your homies, and you get in trouble and you don't say anything about it. So,
Yeah.
that was kind of my childhood, I guess, to put it all together.
Did your folks ever tell you about like the whole transition in the country Cuba, like with Castro being put in power or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure, bro. I get it. I mean, I've heard everything it is to it, bro. You know, pe- those people. My parents. Speaking of my parents, like coming from a communist country, there's very, very specific opinions when it comes to the poverty and the hunger and everything that people deal with. So, without getting too much into the policy stuff, a lot of people experience that in a different way, and for some like harder than others. And so to get out of that system back then, it was really tough, especially during that whole I mean, it still kind of is, but back then it was really like Cuba with like Russia, USSR, and just like it was just really tough to get out. So
Yeah.
yeah, they had to put in some work to get us here. So I always thank them and appreciate them for all they did.
Hell yeah.
You got to, man. Shout out to the parents out there putting in work for the future generations. And to me, that's a trip, bro. Like your family coming from Cuba, landing in LA. And I mean, LA back in the 90s, it wasn't any better than, the island. So
For sure,
it's a trip.
for sure. I mean, you get, it's at the end of the day, like you could go to the supermarket and you gonna have some garden. You'll have your choice of orange juice you want to get. You have all these options to pick groceries. Out there it's just what's there for that day is there. Once it's gone, it's gone. And then the supply just keeps getting lower. And so, yeah, it was. My parents have a funny story where they were in the store with my grandma. My grandma showing them around the grocery store. My pops grabbed a can of cat food thinking it was like tuna shit, and he was just like, "Oh, look, they got this can." And my grandma was cracking up because she's like, "That's cat food." And he was just looking at them like, "You guys have canned cat food? Like what?" So definitely a culture shock there.
Ooh. And speaking about coming from LA, what got your folks down here to raise y'all?
Work. My pops was working. I mean, that's really what it was. My pops is the main source of income for our household. So, where he was able to land a job is where we were going. Fortunately, we were able to stay here in Dago, permanently once we moved here. But that's really what it was. It's just him and his work.
Okay. And then we can go ahead and fast forward a bit now. Now, growing up in your adolescence, how was that like for you? Like you're talking about like SM, like back then when it was, because nowadays there's more buildings like out there. It used to be like more more land, like more chicken farms and shit like that. You know what I'm
Yeah, well,
saying?
then don't they have like a milk farm or something?
I believe so.
Yeah. Holland over there off Mission Ave. Yeah, bro. I mean, my years back then, I mean, shit. It was different. I was playing sports a lot, so I was really concentrated on sports for a good time, and then sometime I just, sports wasn't working for me. I wasn't really aligning with it. I wanted to go kick it with the homies and do hood rat shit, So
I feel that.
and so that's really where I went. And yeah, San Marcos back then was way different, bro. I grew up right next to what's San Marcos Elementary now was San Marcos Academy. I don't know if y'all remember that back in the day, but that whole school was a piece of, that thing was bad, bro. And so, and behind that was, what a lot of people consider Soptown. And, it was just like that alley right there from the Boys and Girls Club right behind the elementary school. And so we lived right by that. So we were hearing things pop off, left and right at night and, seeing things you probably didn't want to see. But, it wasn't that crazy, but it was enough to where, you don't forget that stuff, So that was San Marcos back then. Now it's a lot nicer, nice parks, skate park and stuff, which is cool, bro. Good. It's good change for the community. It's just, but it's what the change brings that, messes everything up, pushing everybody out. You know what I mean? Raising the rent and all that other, Good old gentrification.
Gotta love gentrification, dude. Goddamn.
Now, going through all that, what was your introduction to music?
Bro, BET and MTV really. Well, the first rap song I ever heard, I was in I won't say the one I remember, right, was in like, I think I was in the 4th grade. We were at lunch, we were in the cafeteria, and somebody had like a CD player or something, and they were playing. They had an Eminem CD, and they're playing in my closet. And all I remember was like, "I'm really sorry, Mama. I never meant to hurt you." And that, like, I mean, however old I was back then, 8, 9 years old, like that just like clicked for me. Like I loved it, and I was just like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" And then I, jumped into Eminem, 50 Cent, and I just was listening to that, bro, for like years. I didn't have internet, so that's all I knew was just burn CDs my homies gave me. And then I saw, we had basic cable, bro, but I was able to find MTV, and BET every now and then. And so I would watch the music videos, and I'm like, oh, that's just so cool, And then it wasn't until high school where I started seeing people like actually pursue, like they were really doing it. They were like at the churches, like little hip hop church groups, or just random fools. I kicked it with this one kid. His name's Obed. Shout out Obed. Sophomore year, Nuffle would play beats on his hands on the desk. He would be rapping, freestyling. I'm just like, what? Like, you could really do this on the side? Like, I thought that, and it was just mind blowing to me. And then ever since then, I was like, this is what I want to do. So it's been a minute, bro.
Yeah, talking about like CDs, like talking about swap meet days and shit.
Man,
Yo, you said burn CDs, dog. I was like, oh shit, that's a throwback.
Yeah, man, burn CDs, LimeWire, you name it, bro. That's I was pulling songs off YouTube. I pull YouTube videos. Like once I finally got an iPod, I'd strip the YouTube video because I didn't know how to do YouTube to MP3 back in the day. That was like not really common. I'd download the video to my iPod so I can listen to like songs or instrumentals. Like, came a long way, bro.
Were you one of those ones that stuck the CD players in your dickies? You remember those?
Yeah. Not big as hell. Nah, no way. I definitely just throw it in the backpack, bro, and just throw it there and have the headphones on,
All right.
Yeah, that's a waste of a pocket, dude. I remember that shit. Try to throw it in your jacket, and you got this big old fucking boulder. Yeah, it wasn't that fly.
And it was tough because it would always just bounce around and move, so it just start skipping. What I
Mhm.
mean?
Yep.
That part.
Like, damn.
Yeah, that shit crazy. And then now you're on this path, right? Where you're knowing what you want or what you like. What got you serious in the music?
That's a good question, bro. There's a lot to it, but it was really a dream that me and my boy shared. My boy Bry. You probably see his name on a lot of my songs. We've been at this forever, and so after high school, we was kind of all we had, you know what I mean? We were just trying to figure out what we were going to do, but like we still like wanted to keep making this music. And so we keep doing that. And then we just started meeting different people, and kind of taking different avenues, going to LA to do shows, and doing this, meeting with these groups, throwing shows here, throwing shows there. And so that's kind of what like, it just kind of naturally happened, At first we were just making music, just like, oh, let's get after it. And then once you started seeing kind of like the connections you're making, and you start reaching, and then it's like, oh dang, you just somehow just naturally get involved in it, and then you just go. That's really how I just kind of went about. It wasn't like one day I was like, it's hard to say, bro, because it breaks, like as you grow as a person and an artist, things change. And so there's times where there would be a different switch that would flip for me, where I'm like, yo, I gotta start changing. Like if I want to do this for real, like I gotta start changing the way I do this, how I, handle business, or, things like that. And then once I became a father, then it was like a whole different switch that I knew existed I had to turn on, because now it's like my time is way more limited now, So it's like, nah, you gotta, if you want to do this now, you really have to, it's either do it now or keep it as a hobby, which both is fine, or one or the other is fine. But I think it was things like that, moments in my life where I was tested to see if this is what I really love. And every time I came back, and anytime I came back, I was received well. It wasn't like I disappeared for a couple of years and then everybody was just like, like this fool, And so things like that just spoke to me, where I was like, no, like this is something I love to do, and people love to see me do it. So like, let's just keep it going.
That's right.
Yo, that's tough.
What was your first project you ever put out?
Yeah, man.
Oh, that was probably back in high school, huh?
Man, nah, because we didn't even know we could record ourselves. Like before, it was like you had to go to somebody's house to record. You know what I mean? And you have to be cool with that motherfucker. You know, you have to be cool with somebody that's cool with him to be able to get in there. And so sometimes I'd be in the room, but I wasn't like dope enough or respected enough to like get on the mic. You know, so it wasn't until we realized we could buy our own equipment. We're like, oh, okay. And so once we started buying our own equipment was when we started making a project. So I made my first project when I was after high school. So I was probably like 18, yeah. It was called I Ain't Done Yet, which is funny. But yeah, man, not nobody will ever hear that. Ain't nobody. I thought I was dope as hell back then, but yeah, that's one of like, I don't know, that's one that maybe me and my boy Bri will play like when we're just chiefing it and just like talking about old days. Maybe a song or two will slip in there, but ain't nobody else gonna hear that thing.
Got it. Got it.
No, I feel that.
How about the shows, man?
Man, so since high school, well, it's man, I'm really about to go deep into this bag.
They'll run it.
That's what we in this for.
So it's like I have to like put context to it because I never did like I never would like put myself out there like that, you know. And so I was playing sports, and then I was, like I said, I went away and just started, skating and doing other shit. And so senior year, I don't know if y'all remember when like when there was jerk crews around here.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
All right, bro. So
Swag era.
yup, swag era, bro. And so we, well, damn. So there was a crew that was getting started at my high school, and the guy that was starting it, like him and I would always shoot the shit in class, just talk shit to each other. But like, like
Homies.
kind of homies, kind of not, you know what I mean? But just mutual, respect. And one day I was just like, hey, fool, I'll battle you after school. I never danced in my life, bro. Like that, you know what I mean? I'll battle you after school. And he's like, oh, okay, for sure. Meet me in my car. And I went throughout the day of school, and I was just like, this fool doesn't think I'm going to pull up, bro. Like, I'm a fucking pull up. I pulled up, and, that shit was funny. And we just started kicking it. And then, I just started getting along with those fools. And then I joined the crew. They'll say different, but I think I was terrible. I was ass, bro. But we was in a crew called Swag Society in San Marcos High School. And so that's where my first show came up. First performance I ever did was at the Flying Bridge for some girl's like 16th birthday or some shit like that. We were just in high school, and we performed like 3-4 songs and did our little chorus.
Damn.
But yeah,
All right.
bro. And then I just loved it, and then after that, it was just kind of different opportunities here and there to do shows. And, once I realized this was the path I wanted to take as an individual artist, as then it's like, where can I find a show to do now? Now I wasn't like, oh, sure, I'll do it. It's like, nah, like book me. you know how the grind is.
Hey, well, you started off strong, dude. I mean, especially because like back in the swag era, it's like not only are you just doing your raps, like you're out there dancing, performing. It's like you're like in a musical, basically. And so
what's funny about that, bro? I hate musicals, bro. Like that's so funny. But true, bro. I mean, I was always younger than everybody. I was just 16, 17 at the time, maybe even a little younger than that, and I had nothing else. I had nothing else. I was like, there was nothing going for me, really. You know what I mean? Like I didn't care about school. I wasn't locked in like that, and so I found something that I felt like a tribe, you know what I mean? Like we're all people see me for who I am, and those fools brought me in and accepted me. So like I'm always appreciative of that. So yeah, shit. Only connect the dots looking back.
And so you found your music, your little itch, but do you still recall like the first project that really made you like, okay, I could do this 100% professional?
Yeah. There was a project I dropped 2017, I think it was. It's called Find Yourself. It's on Bandcamp. It's not on streaming platforms just because there's a lot of beats I did some like new GBs, like beats I rapped on and stuff. So, that's why it's only on Bandcamp. But that was one where I felt like I started seeing my skill level, like take a step up, like just my rhyme schemes and my flows and just the type of songs and melodies I was hitting. I was just like, oh yeah, like this is starting to click for me. And I saw it receive well. I'll never forget, it was one of my favorite shows I ever done. I did at you know, Connect, what are they? Connect San Diego, down there, down south.
Yes, I've heard of it. Yeah, they do it like every year.
So I did one of them, I think 2017, and I had this song called Shade I did with my boy Bry, and the hook was a cool hook, and the whole room was singing that shit, bro, and I was just like, I still watch that video like once every 3 months just to remind myself, like, you know, and that moment like just gave me the chills where I was just like, oh man, like I love this, like, and it was just a project that was received well. I felt good about it. You know, I was proud about it, and so that's when I realized like, oh, I could put an album together. I could take the time to make the songs. You know, I can work with other artists, other producers, and yeah, I think just taking a step back, looking at everything, how it came together was when we realized like, oh, I could really do this, you know, and then I started getting involved in this scene a lot more. Like, you know, with like the Oceanside Cats and the people down San Diego and back in Vista when Amon was down here doing his thing when he was still here in Vista. So, yeah, it was just a cool era for me where I was just like everything just clicked and I was like, no, I could really do this. You know?
I mean, you can see it like throughout your projects over the years. You got features. I mean, you got RM, you got GD Funkster, and then a whole bunch of other homies that we know. Um, how was it with you linking up GD? How did that came up to be?
Yeah, bro, good question. So it was kind of, you know, meeting GD through Amon's shows. And so you know how it is when you do shows with other cats, and you know when there's that mutual respect, you know what you're doing is dope. You know you say what's up, you follow each other back on Instagram, kind of just keep it at that level usually. But there's certain people and certain artists that I'll extend further than that, just because like I see what you're doing and I think I actually just think you're dope. What you're doing is dope. You know, I'll respect everybody and support everybody, but there's certain people where like I will make it known because like what they're doing is dope. You know, and so GD was one of those folks, and I had a project called My Brown Face at that time, and just another project that was received well, and GD always like showed love on that, you know, and just always gave me my props for that, and I just reached out. I was like, "Yo, you down to do a song?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm down." And so we've GD and I think we got like 3 or 4 records now. But yeah, that's just kind of how it came about. Just him doing his thing, me doing my thing, and just kind of having that mutual respect for each other. And yeah, and he always received my songs well. He was like, "Yo, this shit's dope. I'm down," you know. And so it's always a good feeling when a dope artist tells you some shit like that, you know. So it's kind of how these songs came about.
That's right.
Yeah. Big old shout out to GD. Big old shout out to RM and everybody tuning in. Don't forget, we're kicking it here with Brother Cuban at the Kick Lab studio for this interview.
Yes, sir. And then right before we dip into more questions, let's go ahead and dip into the comments.
All right, let's see what we got, man. Shout out to the Instagram, shout out to the YouTube, and shout out to everybody tuning in through the Spotify and Apple Podcasts. All right, so gonna cruise through IG. I feel like that's where mostly everybody's at. Got some fire emojis blown up. That's what's up. A couple other emojis right here at Brother Cuban. Looks like a piece of paper. I can't really tell what that emoji is, but yo, shout out to. Oh, no, is that what it is? Okay,
yeah.
bet.
I joined the computer ain't up there all the way for us to see it. But yeah, we appreciate everyone tapping in. If you haven't done so, go ahead and give it a quick like, share, and subscribe. It helps out the YouTube channel. And also, Brother Cuban's IG tag is also on the screen right there.
Yep. Follow the man.
Right there. You can go ahead and follow that. Brother Cuban, can you help me out? Can you pass me a light by any chance?
Oh, I got you, dog.
Appreciate that, bro. I don't know what happened to all the lights out here, bro. I keep telling you.
They disappeared.
They walk away, huh?
Well, Cuban, I got another like follow-up question to what we just went through. So you made your project. You have a previous project that you probably won't share with anybody. How about your first music video? Do you remember it, or do you still even have it on YouTube, or are you just having it in the vault for yourself?
All the above. All the above. Nah, shoot, bro. Well, so I remember shooting a video with my boy Bry. We had a few when I was in that crew with Swag Society, but first one I can remember for real I did was me and Bry. We remixed Roger That, which was is a Nicki Minaj song, I'm trying to remember if I think it was Nicki Minaj, Wayne, and Drake on it. If not, just Nicki Minaj and Drake.
The Money Team.
Yeah. So Young Money.
Young
that
Money.
was-
Money Team.
Yeah, Money Team. I think it's Mayweather.
Yeah, Young Money. But I remember doing that. We just filmed it behind the 99-cent store in Rancho Santa Fe. But that was still alive on YouTube, but on the homie's private list. So it's somewhere. I won't tell you his YouTube though. So no hackers, you know what I mean? I was playing. But yeah, nobody will see that. But that was probably my first music video that I can recall for sure.
All the visuals that I've seen so far in the projects, who makes your visuals?
Well, if you're talking about music videos, SE17 is doing my videos right now.
Shout out.
Okay.
So he's doing my music videos. We work together real well. Fuck with Steez, and then if it's my Instagram like real content, then I'm doing that with Wolf, Wolf Media. If y'all not familiar, y'all should tap in for sure. Wolf's a good guy, man. Does great work. Super talented too, man. But yeah, so Wolf, I hit up Wolf to do my Instagram stuff, and Steez does my music videos. And yeah.
All right, cool. And then for the project covers and the album covers.
Go.
It kind of goes around. Most of the ones you'll see, I do them myself on Photoshop. There's a graphic designer goes by that I found through Threads. He did 2 of them for me, and then, but yeah, mainly I'll do them. This last one I did, I used AI for it. Because I just had a vision idea, and I was just like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get this shot. So I went for it, prompted that thing for like 30 minutes, bro. Then finally I was like, okay, I like this one.
This is close enough.
Yeah, I probably won't do that again, just because it's hard to like, I want to continue to support, whether I do it myself or support a different artist to make it. You know what I mean? I don't want to just rely on AI stuff. So, but yeah, mainly me, bro.
Hell yeah. Keeping it in house and keeping it in the homies.
That's right. And when it comes to the music video, final question for me: which one is your most viewed video?
I think it's on it's on private now, but it was a song called Goofs. Yeah, it was a song called Goofs. If it's not that one, it'd probably be this song I dropped back in the day called "I Miss My Homies." But yeah, those 2. Goose was a sick one. My brother did that for me back in the day. My brother was in school doing just his following his film stuff, and so he needed work and I needed work, so it worked out for us.
That's right.
Oh, it sounds epic now that you say it. They're like, feels like the timing was right. Both of you guys were after a certain visual on the project, so I'm pretty sure it's dope.
Yeah, I mean, I'll show it to y'all after this.
I'm down.
Yeah,
Fuck
the only reason why it's on private is because, I said something about my pops on the song that at the time I met, but I don't feel that way no more. And I don't feel like it's right for me to represent him in that way to the world. You know what I mean? And so that's why I took it down. But other than that, the song is fucking tight.
Damn, all right. Sometimes it be like that. I mean, look at M ripping it into his mom.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't nothing like that. You know what I mean?
I wasn't saying it wasn't like that.
Yeah, but that's some other shit.
Yeah.
They not like us. No, that's fine.
Oh man. And now, I also let's take it back real quick too. During COVID, I know everybody was affected during COVID. How was your COVID life like?
Man, COVID was different for me. That was a big break for me. It was a pause, bro. I just remember, because I'd be smoking, bro. I'll tell you, I'll be smoking spliffs, and so it's always in the back of my mind, I need to quit. And so when that was going on, I was like, damn, bro, I can't afford to fucking lose my lungs. I'm going to get smoked.
Shit.
And so I sobered up throughout those for like a year and a half. And I stepped away from the music. I was getting hit up to do a couple shows. And you know, it was like right at the peak of COVID in the beginning, and I was just like, nah, like I'm good, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Thank you, but I'm good. I didn't make it too much of a deal. I just, you know, I passed. But that, to me, my perspective, that kind of hindered it a little bit because people stopped hitting me up to do the shows, you know? And so I felt like the scene kind of moved along a little bit, and I got kind of left behind for my own fault, nobody else's. So COVID was just more inner work, getting closer to my lady, appreciating life, like, you know, and it was a, you know, it was just a moment for me to slow down, kind of take a step back, look at the big picture, you know, and that's what we were kind of talking about earlier before, you know, like the whole break stuff, and then to be able to come back, you know, and so yeah, COVID was a quiet one for me with music. I was making stuff with my homie in the studio, just having fun, getting faded, but it was nothing really that I was like putting out. It took a while. It took a while for me to get back there.
Okay. Yeah. Really, it was a real reflection time and a big break time for a lot of people during that.
Yeah.
time, honestly.
For almost everybody.
though, right?
That we
Yeah.
came up off of COVID.
Yeah, dude.
A lot of people, bro. A lot of people did. You got to shout out.
Yeah. I mean, that was a time where everyone was like just at home, and then what else? Like they were streaming, which is crazy too, because back then, like they didn't think streaming was gonna be as big, so equipment was stupid cheap around that time. I remember that because because I worked during COVID, but Louis didn't work, so he went ahead and got the assistance from the government because you know how they were doing the unemployment boost.
For sure.
And then he went ahead and invested into the labs, and this is
Smart
where we at
man.
right now.
Hell yeah, smart move.
Same
Yeah.
microphones, I think, too, right, Vic?
No, we've upgraded a couple
upgraded
times.
a couple
Yeah.
It's like, come on, bro.
Hey, man. Shit. There's a few things that we actually still got around here. I'd be tripping out. I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, the old mixer's still in a storage bin somewhere. But I don't know. I feel like for everybody, COVID was just weird. Like it either helped or it didn't. But I mean, on our end, same thing. March of 2020, we were barely moving into this building, and before we knew it, like everything got shut down. And we're like, fuck. We moved in right on time.
Yeah, I feel that, bro. Yeah, I was working. I was essential. I was working Monday through Friday, 10, 12 hours, and then doing 6 on Saturdays. I mean, I was bringing in some fucking bread. So, you know, I was just bringing in bread, taking care of me and my lady, and then having a good time, you know, as much as I could at least.
Yeah, because everything was closed down.
Yeah.
So it was really easy to have a bag at that time, too, because you weren't out spending it, you know? That's the crazy
That
part.
part.
Man, tell me about it, bro. I really thought that money was gonna be endless. I was making some choices. I was making some choices with that money. Yeah, man, you live and you learn.
Right. And now you're a father, and you're also a music artist, and you know, and a husband. You're finally like the balance all in life. I mean, what piece of advice would you give to somebody in your position, what you're doing, to be able to balance everything and not stress as much?
That's a good question, bro. Balance is a funny concept, bro, because you know how true really is it? I mean, it's just priorities. It really is just about your priorities. Like, what do you know, you gotta sometimes just put it on paper and just what's your 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? And you take care of it in that order, right? So for me, it's my family. So like family comes first. I take care of my family, and you know, and then you know, that comes with being a father and being a husband. So 1 and 2 right there. And then you know, not to say I put myself last, but you know, that's once I can take care of that, the anxiety gets removed, and I'm free to take care of like what I want to take care of for myself. If I'm not taking care of what I should be, it's always in the back of my mind. You know, I can't chill, and so I got to take care of the stuff I know I need to take care of, so it doesn't eat me away, and then I can be more free to like just roam and be myself and do what I want to do, as opposed to what I need to do. So that would be my advice. You know, basically handle your shit. You know what I mean? Handle your shit. If you're a father, you know, or a husband, you know what I mean? Be responsible. Be responsible. Take care of what you need to take care of. You know, as a man, do that first, and then the rest, you know, then play after.
That's right.
Big facts right there. Everybody take notes. Brother Cuban dropping knowledge.
Hey. What?
And then your most recent project that you just dropped, go ahead. Can we talk about that? I saw that you got the homie DJ Attic One on the mix with the cuts.
Oh yeah, the sing. Okay, yeah, Corky and Rodeos, bro. Yeah, DJ Addict One on the feature, bro. True Love on the mix, produced by Ingles. Man, it's one of my favorite songs I've made in a while, bro. Honestly, just because it's like so it's just like there's like fluid. It's just like the fluidity of the song. It just flows real well. It's really kind of like talking about what we were talking about earlier, like my just me talking about San Marcos, the changes in San Marcos, but like how I still view it the same city and like and yeah, it's funny how the song came about. My boy makes fun of me because when I do my shows, I like to shout out to the county and be like, yo, where's everybody at? And so I go from west to east. So I always start off with Oceanside because Oceanside has the strongest community out here, bro, especially in the music scene. So I always like to be, like, is Oceanside in the house? Was Vista, boom, boom, and just go down to 78. But my boy was making fun of me because I've been living in Oceanside for a while, and he goes like, bro, you want to be from Oceanside so bad. And I was just like, man, I think one day I was playing that beat and I was like, I'm from the north side of Dago, right by Corky and Rodeos. And I was like, oh yeah. Like I just like it just clicked right there for me and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about San Marcos today. And I literally had a studio session the next day with True Love down in San Diego and I was like, nah, I gotta finish this song. And I was like, I just tapped into every source I could. I was thinking about the homie telling me that shit. I was like, nah, I'm a rep San Marcos, and then just I'm in San Marcos every day, bro. So I see it every day, and so it was easy for me to just flow through it. And then I needed scratches. I had the idea after the record. I was like, put it on Instagram. Addict One hit me up instantly. Was like, yo, I do scratches. He was talking about sending me beats, and then he was like, yo, I do scratches too. I was like, I'll send you the acapellas and the beat here tomorrow. And boom, ran that through, chopped it up for a little bit, and yeah, man, it came about real nice. Like I said, one of my favorite records as a date.
Okay. Would you ever do like an Angel Baby sample? Because Rosie and the Originals recorded in San Marcos that track Angel Babies.
Nah, you're putting me on. Say that again.
Yeah, that track, Angel Baby from Rosie and the Originals. Everyone's favorite oldie or introduction to oldies.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're younger. Yeah, they recorded at a recording studio that's located in San Marcos.
What studio? Is this? Oh, I'm about to say. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I guess I have to now. Producers, y'all hearing this?
Yo, Bruce,
send me some heat.
Right. Well, I say that I asked that too is because like I hear all these tracks and then you get once in a while, like, you get some dope-ass samples that you, like, I heard the Eagles, one of these nights getting sampled. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Thing about samples, it's just tricky, bro, because, it comes with having to own it or get the clearance for it, and a lot of times the songs won't go live. That's what I was saying, like, find yourself, like, I didn't own some of those beats, so I, can't put that on streaming platforms. Yeah. And even then, sometimes let's say you try to lease a beat, and, it's because it's not your original work. If somebody else buys it or they put a sample on there, it might not clear it through Facebook Store, some stuff like that. So samples get tricky. You could find, the approval for use, but it's tough. And sometimes you got to put up bread. So, and I'm sure like how expensive it is just to make a song, let alone put it out and then promo it. On top of that, you're trying to pay for a sample or a very well-known sample. Man, I can't even imagine, bro.
Depending on the terms, or like,
yeah.
Or right there, like the lease, like it's only a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
like that.
No, I'm not trying to make money a deciding factor, but when you're a father, that it is. It has to be. So that's just one of those things. But hey, at least you could put the record out for free. So
right, like Happy Hour. Happy Hour had that bartender sample.
Yeah. I just was those are my favorite T-Pain lines ever, bro. Drinks to drink, we drunk them, got drunk. Fucking genius, bro. And I love that. And so one day we were just playing that beat. I was just in the studio with my homies, smoking and drinking, and I was like, yo, this would be cool to do this. You guys down? You guys just do the ad-libs in the background, some stuff. And then the homies were down, and then boom, get writing your verses, and then just laid it down. Yeah. So that one I can get away with because it's a recording. It's not like an actual,
Yeah.
I'm singing it as opposed to like stripping the T-Pain vocal. Yeah.
And then I gotta get this story too, like on the Kick It Labs page as well. Like you and RM on the track, like how that came up to be.
Kind of the same thing, bro. Same thing. just mutual respect and just just talking through Instagram and be like, yo, you down to hop on a track? I mean, it's just as easy as that, really. I mean, that's kind of just how it came about. Not really much more than that. I mean, I fuck with RM, and he shows me that same respect. And anytime we have a show together, we're always, showing support for each other. So that song came about. And but see that song, that beat, there's some sort of sample clearance that I can't get to, so you can't find it on Facebook. So, like if you try to do like an Instagram story with that song, you can't find it. And so we were trying to get that song remade, but I was like, bro, like that song we made a couple years ago, I was like, I think we can make something better. So I know he's working on stuff. I'm working on some stuff right now. So I know we got something in the future coming.
Ooh, all right, all right. And then on the album Tears, like we were talking about the promo, and I asked you whose voice was that on the call doing that promo.
Yeah.
And you said it was your brother?
Yeah, it was my brother. Yeah. So the middle brother. So we're super close in age though. Like him and I are like a year apart. So that was really my friend growing. Like that was my best friend growing up. You know what I mean? So we're close. But yeah, that was my brother. It was just like I said, it was one of those moments where you're just like, man, I can see the vision. I'm just trying to take it up another level. And I was showing him the songs. And he knew where I was coming from like a vulnerable place as far as like as an artist, what I'm writing about, and he was just like, bro, this shit is sick. Like, are you just gonna drop it and just drop it and hope it does well, or are you gonna promo it and stuff? And so I was like, nah, you're right. I was like, and I didn't even ask him to do that. He called me, and I picked up. I was at my lunch at work. I was like, what's up? And he was like, don't answer the phone. Just let it go to voicemail. I was like in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru trying to pick up lunch, bro. I was like, all right, bet. So I do that. Then I see a voicemail and I play it. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, yo, I'm using this as an interlude. And he's like, yeah, that was the plan. And I was like, all right, sick, cool. So he got himself on the album without even trying, bro. You know what I mean?
That shit was sick, bro. I mean, I
Hard.
felt the vibe and the energy, and then even like the whole album of Tears, like you transitioned to more like, cause you're always with that conscious, like raps and like melodies and like your rhyme schemes too. But that one you just dove right in and straight hit consciousness on that on the whole album.
Yeah, man. It was a vulnerable place for me as a person and as an artist. Like I think it was a couple years after COVID going on, and kind of seeing people, it was just a time where like a lot of people were passing away in my life, and things were changing. I just got engaged, so trying to develop that life, and then having loss or then having gain in my life, and it was just one of those moments where I don't know, I just started putting it from the pen to the pad and just put that all together. And so I try to be as vulnerable and honest as I could in that album, not hold anything back, because I was like, nobody makes songs like this, I mean, maybe they do. I mean, they do. I'm not gonna say they don't, but not the way I do it. You know what I'm saying? But I just felt like it was just a way I could describe what I was going through, and I felt like it wasn't out there for me to find. So let me put this out into the world for maybe somebody to find, And so, because like I talk about death a lot in that album, and so that's a subject that's always been hard for me since a kid. I would lose sleep for nights, bro, just thinking like, where do we go after this shit, bro? Is it all just pink, And so, it's always been a heavy subject for me. So I felt like the best thing I could have done after what I was experiencing was just like put it out artistically. And so I try to dive into all aspects of it, and you can see it through the album where it starts off with I need a break, and I need a break is like almost me like crying out for help, kind of like, bro, like how can I take a fucking break? There's so much that needs to get taken care of all the time. It doesn't stop. You know what I mean? Once you feel comfortable, and all of a sudden, boom, your fucking transmission or something. You know what I mean? Just to use an example. But so yeah, bro, I appreciate that. Because I really put a lot of thought and emotion into that album.
Yeah, you can tell, man. You can feel the energy. I was vibing out to it like on my way from work, and then I was like, oh shit. Hell yeah, today was a Monday. Done, and I still gotta get more shit done, honestly. Oh, man. Oh. And then RM, he's just right here commenting on the other project being dropped.
You said RM just hit you up right now on the side?
Yeah, no, he's just commenting on the reels that he dropped on the page. We're speaking about him. And then a quick plug-in for everybody that's watching the live. You're right here in North County or in Oceanside. Rosewood Kitchen's going down tonight. Last hit last Monday of the month. Soul Spitters go ahead and takes over the night. The beats and eats, and you're just gonna find some local good DJs and some dope ass MCs out there. You know, like the lineup always changes up. I mean, you know, you can see like always the similar cats, but it always switches up. Tonight you're actually gonna have Louis band out there. Los Chivos is performing. Dope ass band, I can say. I've been catching them, you know, on their open mics from time to time, and then I just saw their performance out from the Lived Experiences open house on their grand opening on their Resource Community Center. They were dope. They were dope. So go ahead and catch yourself at Rosewood, going on until they closed. It's starting right now as this show actually goes. So go ahead and get on over there if you haven't heard yet.
That's right. And that's one of the reasons why Louie and Lenz are actually not with us today in the studio. They're out at Rosewood putting out the good vibes. Louie is actually on the Instagram commenting, saying, much love, y'all. Much love, brother. Fucking kill it out there in the States today. Oh. And Bruce is stepping all over the wires right now. But everybody, don't forget, we're still here with Brother Cuban, straight kicking it with you guys live. So go ahead and comment if you guys feel like commenting before we wrap up the episode. But I am going to run through one that I see here from Eddie Funk saying, I got my volume all the way up on my phone and still can barely hear y'all. So, hey, sorry, bro.
Damn.
But always rewind back, check it out on the YouTube, and just, I guess, throw it through the edit machine, raise it up a little bit more on the volume. All right, so Bruce is on his way back, about to sit down to rejoin the interview right here with Brother Cuban. Hope everybody has enjoyed themselves, and let's keep going, bro. So you're saying that you're dropping a couple projects pretty soon?
Yep, for sure. Not officially announced, but I got a project I'm gonna drop here in the next month for the summer. It's gonna be some good vibes, some fun vibes. If you've kind of caught some of my music in the past, you'll see. You'll see. There's a huge range I like to go, bro. So we're definitely gonna go into the summer bops, have fun records. So I'm gonna throw that out there for the people to enjoy, man. And so I had fun making those records with some of the homies, and so that'll be coming out in a month. I just gotta pick a name and make the art for it, and it's out there. And then I do have another project in the works for end of the year. Can't speak too much on that because I just started working on it, but I already have the structure. So I'll be dropping 2 projects this year, maybe some EPs in between, but I'll be dropping 2 projects.
I still don't see what they got the value. I'm sorry, Cuban. I'm just right here trying to fix up the technical issues that some people be having.
You good?
Sometimes.
But I think it sounds good. I mean, I checked it out on the YouTube earlier.
Good this whole time.
Yeah.
Like that whole YouTube channel. Once again, go ahead and catch the YouTube. Ooh. And then, Brother Cuban, you got any upcoming shows?
Negative, bro. Not right now.
Are you open to shows then?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Anybody out there listening right now, book me. No, I'm super down to do shows though, for sure. Anywhere, anytime, just let me know. I'm down to pull up, man.
That's right.
What about y'all? Y'all got shows coming up soon, no?
A few
Y'all be
things in the
busy,
works.
Man. Lenz in here. I got a show damn near every day, bro. That man's busy.
Actually, that's true.
That man's busy. Gotta respect that, you know.
Yeah, honestly, especially with summertime, like there's a gang of stuff going down in summertime, bro. Like, it's great to be living out here in San Diego. We are blessed out here.
Yep, 1,000%. I think it's a good time right now for the community too, from the music side, man. I think it's, I think there's a lot of eyes out on San Diego right now, all of San Diego. The venues, I know a lot of venues are signing up now to be, usable for these rap shows. A lot of them weren't down for it in the past, so I see it. I see it helping the community. I see it, helping the culture out here. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens this summer for all of us, and just see what we can grow, or how we grow from there.
And then you want to go ahead and give your opinion and your outlook on that, or your perspective, because you've seen the whole transition of these venues not really doing hip hop or rap shows.
Yeah.
And then there's not really that much any plugins or outlets out in San Diego. You basically had to go more up north.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think changed for this transition to be going on as fast as it has been?
I don't know if there's like one thing I could pinpoint it to. I mean, it's always been around, but it's definitely grown a lot in the past couple of years, and I think just has to do with like the dedication and like the passion that people have for it, bro. Because I mean, that's what it takes is that risk taker. You know what I mean? It's these cats that are taking the risk to either put up their own money or come together as friends and put something on for the show for the city. It takes courage, and so I think, and to give it another perspective, the accessibility of it now, right? So
Right.
you know how we're
That
talking
part.
about everybody could like streams now, and like it's the same thing with the equipment and the shows, and so and bro, at the end of the day, like these businesses see it as as a revenue, right? I won't say the brewery's name, but I remember one time, being at a spot and somebody played rap and somebody came up on the mic and was like, "Yo, we don't play this shit here," and I was just like, "What the hell?" Word, and I was like, "Damn, that's crazy to say," and but they've changed. We all we're all allowed to change, but yeah, it's grown a lot, bro. And I think it just really came from the blood, sweat, and tears of the people, holding it down, from the community. I mean, there's always people that just been doing it from day one. You got Blame, what I mean, from Oceanside. He's been holding it down forever. And then you just got these cats out here, from like the neighborhood kids, you got Sham that's been doing it down in San Diego. GD been holding it down out here too. And then all their, and all their homies and everybody's just pushing it, bro. They believe in themselves. They believe in the city. That's why I have a lot of respect and love for Oceanside because Oceanside holds it down, bro. And so I think all that combined is what really like started growing this. And now I feel like there's less separation between South San Diego, down San Diego than up here. Think it'd be jokes and shit from side to side, but I think there's just more strength in between those two cities now, and I think that's just helping everything grow. And everything's just coming down here, bro. We're getting we got a football club team now,
Yeah.
and so I just think San Diego's in a good spot to grow from all arts. That was a lot to say, but
That was a good answer.
Yeah, for sure.
Tap in.
yeah, man.
Oh man.
Is that what you wanted to hear right there, Bruce?
Yeah, that was right on the ball right there. And then we're at the part where we like to touch in on people's favorite conspiracies. Q, what's one of your favorite conspiracies?
Damn, favorite conspiracies, bro. Ah, man. Y'all might have to come back to me on that one because I was not prepared for a conspiracy conversation.
There you go. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's fine. Good answer.
Half the times they really aren't. We aren't high enough for this.
Yeah, no, I know why I should have smoked. No. Well, let me hear one. Get my brain jogging, bro.
Good one. Oh, you guys ever seen that video of like the one chick like holding like a mirror up against like another mirror, and like she's putting like her arm right through that mirror, and then right before she goes in all the way, she takes the camera because she's recording on her camera. She goes ahead and takes the camera with her and jumps into the mirror, and it takes her like into the back rooms. And back rooms are necessarily like a place where they say like it's a long void, like a whole void of empty space. Like it'd be some say like it's been like empty ass mall, an empty ass grocery store, or shit like that. But there's like something in there like trying to get you or kill your ass. And then you can just see her like with the camera going through, and then she trips, says oh shit, and then the camera falls back into her room, but she's not there no more. The camera's just there. She's gone.
That sounds crazy. That sounds like a Stranger Things episode. Holy shit.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, Bruce.
Nah.
No, or seen the video.
Well, you know how they always say like if you're tripping on acid or like LSD or some shit like that, you're not supposed to look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, but I was just telling my homie about this because I remember last time I did acid, I was looking in the mirror at myself and I was like, "What's the big deal?" But I have seen those videos where the
Feel
malls
that.
are empty or the streets are empty, and I'm like, "What the fuck, bro? Like, either this person's really good at editing or what's going on." Those are trippy.
Yeah, it's like shit like that. The backroom conspiracy theories are always a good one too. See, like most of them, like some people try to see like clips of them like in the dark web and shit. And some people make video games off of it, which is trippy. I ain't gonna lie.
Damn.
Yeah, that's one conspiracy. Vic, what's your favorite conspiracy?
I don't know if I have any favorite conspiracies anymore. And right off the top, I can't think of any right now.
That's all right.
Favorite's a big word.
Shit.
That word. Oh.
How about you, Bruce? What do you got right now?
What I got?
Besides the one with the camera, because with AI, it's kind of hard to tell what's real and what's not.
That's true. And then the one. Well, they always got the Pizzagate theory, right? You know, like
Oh yeah,
that ring of like people like in power like that are into pedophilia and shit. Which we can't even say because then YouTube will fucking block us because for some reason they got a hard on for
yeah.
that shit.
They'll probably cancel our audio again.
You know, you gotta say like SA when if you like talk shit about like if you say shit like that, you know what I mean? What that stands for?
No,
Yeah.
what's it stand for?
yeah,
Cuban. It sounded like you had it.
I do know what it stands for, but
like,
obviously he don't. You can't say it. So
Yeah.
Okay,
fucking
gotcha.
YouTube
it is really weird. It is really weird though how they try to what's the word?
Censor.
Yeah, they try to censor stuff like that. You know what I mean? Especially topics or certain words like that. So, I mean, to kind of tie into what I'm saying in conspiracies, I don't know. I think it's just more, that whole control, like 1949 shit, where they're just like trying to control us and just to be puppets, bro. I mean, it's not even really a conspiracy. That's more like almost a fact.
Yeah.
Straight politics right there.
But yeah, it's weird. This whole censoring thing and just you can't say certain. I just mean it. There's certain words that some people shouldn't be saying, but from that point, yeah, I think it's weird that they do that. I wonder why.
Yeah. And then to switch over on that, you guys have you guys know about like Annabelle and like the rest of the ghost shit that or paranormal activities that those investigators did. It's like a husband and a wife. You guys know about that? Oh, like there's one case that they looked into. I believe they went to the UK for this one, where like this dude will actually transform into a werewolf.
Yo.
Like no, like even the police department, like they were aware of his situation too. Like they were aware about who the fuck he was, but the police chief got so many fucking calls about it, like people trying to find out. So he really wanted to know if it was serious. So he finally called the wife back, and then they went ahead and like I believe they performed an exorcism on his ass or some shit like that. Because they done that too. Like they perform exorcisms, like they get help from the Catholic Church, like either on the record or off the record. Which is crazy because for a priest to do like an exorcism, they actually have to be like they have to spiritually get ready. It takes them like a couple or a few weeks before performing that, and they also got to get the green light by the church too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
Damn.
Right?
But you can do that to a werewolf, man? That's crazy.
That's one way they were trying to cure his ass.
Let him live, bro. Let him live.
Oh man. Well, we are reaching close to the end of it. We appreciate everyone tapping in for tonight. And
Definitely.
once again, go ahead and follow Brother Cuban. His IG tag right there on the screen, as you can see. And then go ahead and check him out on YouTube. Check out the playlist, man, he got going on. That shit's fire. Definitely would smoke bong loads and bong loads to those projects. Not gonna lie. I was rolling over here to the studio for that one. But do you have any last words or any last messages you want to put out there, Brother Cuban, for the folks?
All right, it's my time, huh? What does Kanye say? George Bush doesn't care. I mean, shoot, bro. Without let's not make it about myself right now in this moment.
The title is Brother Cuban.
Yeah, for sure. But if the floor is mine, I think we're in hard times right now from all forms, and so. Whoever's out there watching, I think if there's one thing you could take away from me and my words would be, be a good person, do right, understand others. We all got something we're going through, and we're all lacking something that we're trying to find. So, try to be that source for somebody else, and lessen the hate, man. Lessen the hate, bro, because there's already enough against us. So. That would be what I would want to share is just, more love, less hate, as cliche as it is, man. It's already crazy out here, bro. And so stay together, San Diego, stay together, LA, stay together, everybody, bro, because we all we got. So that's what I'm going to say.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful. Shit. All love SoCal. Let's go.
Right.
Less hate.
Any last words, Vic, before we take off?
No, just everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Did have the brother Cuban here at the Kick Labs.
Yeah, shout out Kick It Labs, man. Thank you guys for having me too, bro. I know Bruce, we had to reschedule it once, so I wanted to make sure I pulled up today. I skipped out on my men's league basketball game. I said y'all gonna have to do it without me tonight, bro. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for bringing me on, bro. And hopefully I could come through here some other time and let's just do it up, bro. And I know I'm gonna see y'all in some shows this summer. So you know what I mean.
Most definitely.
Thank you guys.
Hell yeah, we appreciate you, brother Cuban, for rolling through and kicking it with us here at the Kick It Podcast. And for the rest of y'all, to catch us around next time, yo, thank you for sipping up with us, they for toking up with us, they for kicking it.
You.